We gotta start this brand new. Hair isn't in the best condition, but we're gonna do it today. So, we're gonna talk about what is going on currently, and to tell you about what the country is going to do very soon, this October 18th. That's going to be happening all across the entire country. I will be participating in a protest that is quite nearby where I actually live, and it is coming to mean that there might be a chance that I would be able to get a hold of a local press. If it is by chances, the chances could be anything. Just like how the country is at chances of reaching authoritarianism, right? That really ugly word that you don't want to hear used in the United States so ever so casually, right? I'm literally right here at a place where people are celebrating the deaths of many veterans that fought for this country's liberty. Not all of them might have been up to date with today's modern racism. Maybe not. But today is the day where we could change that. On October 18th. We could show Donald Trump what we are made of. Peacefully. Abide by the laws of this country. And express your freedoms. Depression is the opposite of expression. And you talk about it in the psychotherapy sense. In this country, it has awfully come to me, to my knowledge, that things are not going as well as intended because of the amount of Republicans who are just severely misinformed about this situation. We have certain actors in this country that are misinforming people on purpose and pass an agenda as the form of content creators on YouTube who have been now showing their true colors more than ever about their true intentions with this country's outcome. Bernie Sanders, Mamdani, Alexia, Jasmine Crockett, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Huge leads in this movement, but there are many other names I can mention. Just like I am probably one of those. It is time to seize that moment, but not in the way that the guy from Coco the movie said it, but for different other reasons other than just seizing the moment, right? The moment is now, and this country is now. There has to be action taken, and it's not easy to do it alone. No, you were never supposed to do it alone. You're supposed to do it together as a nation. And I believe there is power in the human voice. In a time where human value is at the lowest possible, there are many figures out there who have no value for human life. And that's quite troubling. I want you to look at this and tell me what you see. Blood shed for this country's freedom. Bloodshed. A lot of people fought for this country. A lot of them did. Even I did, as much as I could possible. I've already talked about how much difference you can make on a major scale to a minor scale. Music comes to mind whenever I think about people. Harmony. Even when you think it's not possible, there are always some keys out there on the piano that whenever you press them together could still make a harmony, even when they're so extremely dissonant and far apart. Where you would go, there's no way this would harmonize together, right? You would think it's not possible, but it is. There are lots of people out there who are afraid for their life voting for red because they have no choice. In a state where Florida is currently known as a red state, even I know the very consequences of protesting in a state where it's filled with all sorts of red people. Even when the state has a huge majority of Hispanics who are coming over to this specific state, immigrating over here, and yet for some reason voting red. Because they think that is the only decision. Sadly, in Florida, most Democrats who have tried battling out the Republicans over here in this state are not really good people and cannot fend for themselves enough as much as Ron DeSantis did. Even I felt that Ron DeSantis had much more of a pride and power in of itself to be able to sustain this country's economy. Even I felt bad for the Democrat that ran and then left the race because he was so severely defunded from his own party. The Democratic Party has its own mistakes too, and it has its own figures. They take money from rich people as well, just as the Republicans do. But currently, step by step, we'd still be able to make differences in different states, because rather than letting it turn all red, we should turn it all purple. Purple is the color of royalty. It doesn't have to be bipartisan. Human life comes before all of these laws, all of the censorship, all of these regulations. It's always the people first. Always the people. When people pass away and when people are born, they too have to go through the same thing that we did. But they get to live in a significantly different world every time somebody is born every 15 to 20 years. It's really saddening to see that there is a possibility that my very own generation won't be able to have children. Not in the majority. It's ridiculously expensive to even have children. Not possible. Nope. Don't even think about it. Same for the ratepayers who are paying the electricity bill. Well, you gotta think the data centers who are spiking your electricity bills. And if you want to know if anybody's fighting against that, absolutely no one is fighting against that currently in the United States. Representatives, or Senate, or House, right? Nobody is fighting against it. Nobody is fighting against the huge data centers that are being built around the place that are significantly taking tolls on our electricity grids. And those are because of those tech giants that you've heard about. Amazon, Meta, and Google specifically love their data centers. Besides Sam, who is from ChatGPT, who also is starting to hire the amounts of data centers that they want. Besides X doing the same thing by expanding its industry over to AI and then also wanting to build data centers. They cause lots of pollution, but they could not care any more about it. People think about the engineering, but they don't think about human life. Part of what makes engineering possible is the fact that you're able to make people engineer for themselves. Being able to give the ability to people to be able to self-engineer is something that you must do as an engineer yourself. Like when the first ones engineered some of the very things that we use today, like my glasses, this phone, and this chip I'm using for my phone to work. Even the light and the way that this camera is working on my phone is done by somebody who thought of a way to make it easier to do without having to carry a really heavy camera to do so. But you would be able to give the ability of those people, whenever they use your cameras to make videos, to make content, mini films, you're giving them abilities to make things out of what those things are. So far, all that these billionaires are doing are just taking away your money and making more lame excuses to take your money. They are trying to make you used to paying higher bills, and they're trying to make you used to looking at this flag and saying that we should salute to Hitler because that is the only thing we can do now. They want you to get used to AI in an unethical sense. Not ethical, unethical sense. It is far gone, too far, for these places to start invading our schools because they're defunding them, but they want to integrate AI as much as possible to take more out of the wages of teachers who already are crippling underneath the wage shrinking that's going on, not just in my state, but in every other state. There are many uprisings, but a lot of them don't go anywhere because they've been busting unions across this entire country. So with the No Kings protest arriving, this might be a chance to scare all of those people who think that we're not able to practice our rights like the way that we used to. It's time to make that difference. It is time to stand up against these dictators and authoritarians who are trying to take over this country. And it doesn't have to be Republican, it could be Democrats too. But currently, Democrats are the only largest party so far, besides independent or third party or whatever, who is able to stand up against these Republicans. Because first we need to be able to neutralize everything they do, and then reverse the entire tide back against them. Not to hurt the people during the process, but to make sure the people are not hurt during the process, and then figuring out ways to help the people in the process, not just for blue states, but for every human person in this country as a whole. Unity and emphasis is something that needs to be found in this country, and with the reading and writing going down in most people, it is urgent that you inform people as well, which is why we need informed leaders and why you need to subscribe to this YouTube channel, because we're trying to hit that 2K goal, also 5K goal. And if I am able to land a local news reporter or station during this protest, which is about to happen near my area, there might be videos out about the entire thing going on, maybe a stream possibly. So, spread the word, head over to Clearwater, protest, show them what you got, and number one, here are steps that you can do to refrain from causing it to go violent, because there might be people out there who are trying to make sure you get violent, because they want police and people to come in over there and make it hard for you to pay attention to what you're protesting for. And there might be people who want to disturb and break the flow of your protest. So here's steps that you can take to make sure to avoid that. Number one, when somebody starts to clearly show signs of wanting to instigate violence, ignore them. Call the police and tell them, hey, this person is coming into my protest and they are disturbing the folks and causing a public disturbance. That should scare them away. Don't instigate the violence further. Don't attach to them. They are just there to distract you, and they are just there to make sure you don't finish that protest. Don't further it and turn it into a violent situation where the police would then have to come over there and then apprehend every single protester that comes in over there, which causes fear, which is what Donald Trump wants and what he's taught his voters, his more violent voters, not all of them, to do, to be able to break protest down. Number two, stay informed and know what you are protesting for. There are people out there who use social media to try to get your attention and basically try to make you look stupid. Here are ways that you can do, and whenever there's somebody asking you a question that you might not have the answer to, because there are some people who like to ask whatever question to try to throw you off so they can make you look really dumb on social media. So, here are things that you can do. Know what you are fighting for and know all of the basic fronts that we are taking in the protest in order to know why you're protesting, but also be really strong on what you're protesting for. Because, again, there are lots of people out there who love to make you look really dumb. And they would post you on your social media and they wouldn't care about your name or your identity. They'll just put your face on there and make you look really dumb. So know what you're protesting for so that those people can't do that in the first place. Use proper English and talk to them as if they are like a child or an adult. If the person is a social media influencer and they're trying to make you look really dumb, don't pay much attention to their questions. If the questions are really rhetorical and really dumb and vague, just move on. Just say, I will not be talking to you. I have the right to not answer you. I have the right to silence. If they're asking like really, really dumb questions, just don't listen. Don't listen to them and avoid it. Avoid people who might ask really dumb questions that are just not relevant to the situation. So please make sure to practice that too. So, whenever somebody actually asks you decent questions, answer them with what you know. So I can give you a few things that you are at least know about what you're protesting for, so that you're not just jumping in and then going, I don't know what I'm protesting for. You have to know what you're protesting for. Number three, here are things I can give you to protest for and talk about when you're near around strangers who are also fighting with you, who might be scared of you at first because they don't know who you are. Though you are protesting for the same reason, try to find unity in the conversations that will follow when October 18th happens to arrive. Number one, we need to first bring the mention that there's going to be huge tax breaks for the billionaires and trillionaires maybe, who will be to arriving in this country to be receiving their tax breaks. It is so basically to chip off your wage and to chip off more of your income for their own self-gain. So mention the huge tax breaks to billionaires and trillionaires, if possible, that they are trillionaires in the future. So chip off. Remember, if somebody asks what you're protesting for, you hate that huge tax breaks from billionaires. If they ask you why, tell them, well, they'll be chipping off of our wages, our incomes, and be rising every bill that we know of, that we pay for on a monthly basis. If I suffer, my family suffers. Tell them that. Tell them what will go up in these tax breaks. So the billionaires will basically be getting a free paycheck while you will be receiving your electricity bills going up, your water bills will go up, your grocery bills will go up, your clothing bills will go up, your medical bills will go up 2 times, actually maybe 3 times, but 4 times, 5 times maybe. And that's all going to go up. Even your education bills, like when you're buying supplies or having your student attend a private school, that's going to go up. So know at least those. If they try to debunk you, ignore them because you already told them why. This is already proven on the internet. Number 2, here's another thing that we're fighting for. Currently, there is a corrupt, warmongering administration. Donald Trump is sending troops and ICE agents over to even concerts, just like Bad Bunnies in this situation, to try to make people scared of arriving there in the first place. We have a racist president who believes in sending people, military personnel, our own people, into our own cities to cause havoc and chaos and purposely instigate violent protests. So that is what Donald Trump wants. So tell him that. We hate the dictator, the president right now, or dictator, Donald Trump. He is a warmongering president, and he's trying to send military troops into these cities as if they were practice grounds for military. So tell him that. Number 3, there's a huge culture war and a censorship war going on. Currently, besides Democrats also stepping in, basically them also being sort of a cause to the censorship, because don't get me wrong, Democrats have been they're nervous and they're just purposely trying to censor rhetoric that might be too extreme for their taste. So Republicans, though, are a lot more major on this. Say there's a culture war and a censorship war going on the internet. This is the third reason you are protesting. The culture war is started from the higher amounts of rates of racism being counted in this country, and the higher amounts of racism going up in social media. Extreme social media and the radicalization of young men is going up because it is seemingly more possible for a female to vote Democrat rather than Republican, statistically. Young men are being put into these sorts of forums and groups where they're filled with people who try to give them sorts of nice words, right? And then try to turn them over to the side of violence. And this is why it leads to all of these school shootings. And your president tries to make that happen much more by saying that certain audiences in our country can't enter because they are not white or American. This country is for the people, not only the Americans, as listed in the Constitution when it told us all about our citizenship rights, right? Citizenship rights, our birth rights and all that. It never told us only Americans could have the freedom. It told us anybody can have that freedom. So, tell them about the culture wars and censorship wars. The censorship wars are the censorship on sorts of medias out there, right? They don't want Democrats and smart people to go on these medias and have influence, which is why Elon Musk has been trying to amp up the misinformation wave on X, which is why. So, censorship, culture war, your bills, right? Talk about the bills, the economy, and talk about healthcare, and then talk about what is going on with the president being a violent dictator. Tell them everything that they need to know. Dress well, be ready, and I'll be seeing you there at these protests And that's all I can say. This is the Project In. My name is Viz/Maggie. Please subscribe to the channel. Please leave a like on this video. Stay safe out there. We need strong, informed leaders. And as always, whatever you say about me is what you say about society. And I think that will be it. Stay safe. I'll see you there. 10 a.m. in the morning at October 18. If you're in Clearwater, show up. Stand high. Practice your rights. You have the right to be silent if somebody's disturbing you, being an annoyance. Do not instigate violence. There will be people trying to instigate violence, and ignore the police and the ICE that might be trying to intimidate you, and practice your right of your freedoms of speech, expression, and privacy. That's all you need to know. Good luck. Have well. And jubilate.